Welcome to Tabbetha's transition journey. My aim is to document my transition from a straight guy to a lesbian trans woman. My name is Tabbetha Dawn Oakes Muir, and I'm a 50-year-old trans woman. I've been on my transition publicly for the last 19 months. Prior to that, I was in the closet questioning myself about if I was trans or not for about 2.5 years. And yeah, it caused pain. This is an introduction to give you a bit of background about my life and where I come from and where I aim to be going. I grew up in the southeast of England in a very conservative family. We lived in Sussex, and I dressed from the age of about 4, from what I remember, to the age of 14. I wore my sister's clothes and my mum's clothes, and I enjoyed dressing up and found it relaxing and secure. At the age of 14, my father told me to stop dressing up and to be the boy I was. So back in the 80s, as I say, a lot of children did what their parents told them. So I repressed my urges to dress and acted as I was expected to be. I went to a private school where the boys and girls were educated separately. I didn't have much contact with my female peers other than on the school bus. My male peers, I had male friends, but I didn't really bond with them. I wasn't really into sport or football, so yeah. And this continued throughout my life. At the age of 18, I went to university in Scotland, and I'm currently living in a place called Lockerbie in Scotland. And I did my degree, and again, I had male friends, but I didn't really bond closely with them. Again, I didn't like football, and as I say, living in Glasgow, if you don't like football, you're completely screwed. If you don't like Rangers or Celtic, there's no point in you talking about football in Glasgow. So at university, my close friends were majority female. I met my wife, well, my ex-wife as she is now, at university. She was a couple of years younger than me. And yeah, we fell into a relationship. And we continued going out. I stayed in Glasgow once I graduated while she finished off her degree. And we got engaged, and a couple of years later we got married in 1998. And we eventually had 2 children, a son and a daughter. And then I decided to change my career and did a second degree in nursing, adult nursing. And again, a majority of my close friends on that degree were girls, because we only had 6 guys start the course, and I was the only one who finished the course back in 2012. And I have a picture in my house where it's me as my male self in a kilt, and surrounded by 19 girls who I graduated with, and it's one of my proudest moments, graduating with them. And at this point, and this was, that's in 2012, I started feeling that I didn't feel right within myself about who I was. So I started questioning and looking at, right, what is making me feel like this. And the obvious one for me was, am I gay? And being a straight guy, I feel that was the most obvious question to ask. Yeah, I'm not feeling right about who I am. Am I gay? So I explored that, and yeah, I was still in the marriage. I know it was. I shouldn't have done that while I was still married, but I needed to find out who I was. After a few years, I realised actually I don't fancy men, so how can I be gay? So again, I paused and reflected and looked at how I felt. And I still didn't feel right within myself. So I reflected on what had gone on in my childhood and as I grew up. And I remember dressing back when I was younger, and I remember enjoying it and finding it secure and comforting. So I decided to start dressing privately, and I did this for 2.5 years completely in private, kept it all hidden from my wife or my ex-wife. I hid all my stuff I purchased in the bedroom and behind drawers, it was a lot of guilt with me doing this during this time. I did it for 2.5 years before I came out in public. And I had episodes where I was guilty about dressing, and I got rid of all my purchases and started again, because I found that it gave me so much joy and comfort that I realised that I wanted to be feminine and a woman full time. So back in June 2022, I went to Glasgow for the first time as my true self. It was a tragic event and the way I looked, but I had the courage to go out to a show. I sat with the audience, the majority of women. I was sat amongst them, and I was accepted for who I appeared as. And afterwards I went to a gay bar in Glasgow. I sat there watching the world go by, and I had a creepy old man sit behind me going, come and sit with me, come and sit with me. And eventually a nice young guy from a mixed group invited me over to join them. And again, they accepted me for who I was. I told my ex-wife that I was trans a week or so later, and her response was how I imagined. She said I wasn't, and told me I needed counselling. So I had counselling, and over the summer of 2022, I was dealing with my father's death, and I was trying to save the marriage. But in October 2022, I decided that I had to take the step to live as my true self and be who I am now. And I came up with a plan to play Happy Families through my daughter's 18th birthday and through Christmas. And my plan was to come out in January 2023. Unfortunately, that plan didn't stand up. Me and my wife had a really bad weekend where we argued and fought. And on the Tuesday before I went to counselling, she asked where we stood. And so I came out to her on the 18th of October 2023. Immediate end of my marriage, we separated that day. And I started saying my name was Tabbetha. My name is Tabbetha Dawn, and I picked that name. It's a funny story why I picked that name. So my initials with my old name were TDO, and I had a personalised number plate on my car. So I decided that I actually wanted to still keep the personalised number plate, so I picked names with where I could keep the same initials. So yeah, I picked Tabbetha, Dawn, and kept my surname as Oakes. And yeah, I told close friends at work about me coming out and my transition, and they kept it a secret for me. And people at work knew I was getting divorced by this point, and eventually one of the girls said to one of my friends who knew, "I don't think he's gay, I think he's transitioning." That was in November 2023. Again, my plan was to stay as myself until January. That was November 2022. My plan was to stay as myself until January 23. And so I was forced to come out early at work. Don't get me wrong, I'm not unhappy about having to come out early at work. It just made it easier, and yeah, work having fully accepted me. So yeah, in January 2023, I went on annual leave and came back to work as Tabbetha Dawn Oakes, wearing my wig, my makeup, and my dress for work. And at that point, I will end this. I'm looking to do a series of videos to help people understand what's involved in transitioning, offering support and advice, hopefully. And this will involve talking about hormones and doctors. I'll also talk about my feminization vocal surgery, which took place earlier this year, and what was involved with that. And it will also continue through my reassignment surgery in December this year. And then I might touch on my emigration out to Australia, and more of that in future episodes. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it.